Emily Parker adjusted her apron over her 7-month pregnant belly while balancing a tray of drinks. Le Ciel Restaurant, one of Boston's most prestigious establishments, was bustling on this Thursday evening. Her feet ached, her back throbbed, but she couldn't afford to take time off. Every dollar in tips meant another item for Lily's layette. "Table 12, drinks ready," called the bartender. Emily took a deep breath and put on the professional smile that had become second nature. Carefully carrying the tray, she crossed the dining room, maneuvering around other servers and guests. The murmur of conversations and the clinking of silverware filled the elegant space. "Excuse me, your drinks," she announced, approaching the table. That's when her eyes met his. Ryan Mitchell. The same brown hair, now with an impeccable $3,000 cut. The same strong jawline, though more mature. Sitting there in a suit that probably cost more than 3 months of her rent was the man who had promised to come back for her 8 years ago. The tray trembled in her hands. A glass wobbled dangerously. Ryan. The name escaped her lips before she could contain it. He looked up, and for a brief second, Emily saw recognition in his gaze, immediately followed by something worse. The conscious decision to pretend he didn't know her. "Martini for the lady, and whiskey for the gentleman," Emily continued mechanically, placing the drinks on the table. "Thank you," replied the woman sitting across from Ryan. She was stunningly beautiful, with perfectly styled blonde hair and a dress that screamed luxury designer. "Anything else for the couple?" Emily asked, maintaining professionalism, while her heart hammered in her chest. "We're fine, thank you," Ryan responded coldly, barely looking at her. Emily nodded and walked away, her legs almost giving out as she headed to the kitchen. She leaned against the cold wall of the service corridor, trying to control her breathing. 8 years ago, they had been inseparable in Millfield, a small town 2 hours from Boston. They shared dreams, plans, and a love she believed was unshakable. "Hey, are you okay?" Samantha, her co-worker and best friend, approached with concern. "The man at table 12, Emily whispered. "It's Ryan." "My Ryan." Sam's eyes widened. "The baby's father?" "No." Emily shook her head. "He left me long before, but he was everything to me." For a moment, memories flooded her mind. The promises under the stars, the plans to move together to Boston, where Ryan would study business. "I'll conquer the world for us," he used to say. The letters that arrived in the first few months, the calls that became increasingly rare until silence became her only answer. "He's pretending he doesn't know me, Sam." "That jerk," Sam frowned. "Want me to spill soup on him?" Emily almost smiled. "I can't lose this job, you know that." The rest of the night was torture. Emily couldn't help looking at the table where Ryan and his glamorous companion dined, laughed and drank expensive wine. With each passage, she felt the weight of her worn uniform, her comfortable but plain shoes, the belly carrying another man's child, a man who had also abandoned her. When Ryan finally asked for the check, Emily asked Sam to handle it. She couldn't bear another encounter. From the service station, she watched him pay with a platinum card and help his companion put on an elegant coat. Before leaving, he looked in her direction. A quick, guilty glance and then disappeared through the door. 3 days passed, and Emily couldn't get the encounter out of her head. Sitting in her small apartment in Dorchester, she flipped through an old album, looking at photos of 2 smiling teenagers in a small town, with dreams too big for that place. The sound of the intercom startled her. Nobody visited without calling first. When she pressed the intercom button, the doorman announced that a man named Ryan Mitchell was downstairs. "Ryan Mitchell," Emily repeated, incredulous. "Yes, ma'am. Should I send him up?" Her fingers trembled over the button. For a moment she thought about refusing, but curiosity and anger contained for years won out. "You can let him up." Emily quickly looked around. The worn sofa, the walls that needed a new coat of paint, the small crib assembled in the corner of the living room. There was no time to tidy up, nor should she care, she thought. When the soft knock on the door came, Emily had already decided not to show any emotion. "How did you find me?" were her first words as she opened the door. Ryan looked different without the suit. He wore expensive jeans and a casual blue shirt that still seemed to scream privilege. His eyes scanned Emily completely, pausing for a moment on her prominent belly. "I asked one of the waiters," he admitted, looking genuinely uncomfortable. "May I come in?" Emily hesitated, then stepped aside. Why? To pretend you know me now that you're not with your girlfriend? Ryan entered, stopping in the middle of the small living room. Vanessa is not my girlfriend, she's a business associate. That answers the least important question. Emily crossed her arms. Ryan sighed, running his hand through his hair in a gesture Emily remembered well. I panicked when I saw you. It was unexpected. Imagine how it was for me, she retorted. A heavy silence fell between them. Ryan seemed to be searching for words as his gaze wandered around the apartment, registering the details of Emily's simple life. Are you doing okay? He finally asked, indicating her belly. I'm great, Emily replied dryly. Is that what you came to ask after 8 years? Ryan shifted uncomfortably. I know I owe you explanations. I know what I did was unforgivable. You simply disappeared, Ryan. No phone call, no goodbye letter, nothing. Boston changed me, he began, sitting on the edge of the sofa without being invited. College, opportunities, people. It was a completely different world from Millfield. At first I had plans to go back for you as I promised, but every time I thought about Millfield I felt like I was being pulled back down. Emily felt her face heat up. I wasn't Millfield, Ryan. I was the person you said you loved. I know, he admitted, looking genuinely remorseful. I was a coward and selfish. Over time it became easier to move on than to face what I had done. Emily shook her head in disbelief. And what changed now? Seeing you, he answered simply. Seeing you made me realize what I did, how much I hurt someone who didn't deserve it. Emily felt movement in her belly, Lily kicking, as if responding to the altered tone of her voice. Unconsciously, she placed her hand over her stomach. Who's the father? Ryan asked softly. Someone who followed in your footsteps, Emily replied bitterly. Another man who made promises he didn't intend to keep. Ryan nodded slowly, absorbing the information. I'd like to make up for what I did, Emily. I know it's late, but you don't owe me anything, she interrupted. And I don't need your charity. It's not charity, he insisted. It's remorse, regret. I want to help somehow. Emily studied his face, looking for signs of the boy she had known. There were traces of him there, buried beneath years of privilege and success. A week later, Emily was organizing menus when an elegant woman entered Le Ciel outside of lunch hours. She recognized her immediately, Vanessa Carter, Ryan's companion on that fateful night. Can I help you? Emily asked, instinctively tensing. Vanessa smiled, a smile different from what Emily had seen on the night of the dinner, less rehearsed, more genuine. Emily Parker, right? Could we talk for a bit? Confused and apprehensive, Emily looked at the clock. Her break would start in 10 minutes. I can offer you coffee soon. Perfect, Vanessa replied, choosing a discreet table in the corner. When Emily joined her, bringing 2 cups of herbal tea, she found Vanessa fiddling with her tablet. Ryan told me everything, Vanessa said straightforwardly, looking up. About you two in Millfield, about how he ran away from his responsibilities. Emily felt her stomach sink. If you came here to defend... No, Vanessa interrupted gently. I came because I broke up with Ryan after that night. She paused, observing the surprise on Emily's face. I thought I knew the man I had been dating for 4 months. I discovered I didn't. Emily didn't know what to say. She took a sip of tea, buying time to process the information. I work as a human resources director at Apex Publishing, Vanessa continued. I specialize in finding talent, and I have a 6th sense for people. Why are you telling me this? Because I saw how you remained professional that night, even facing a difficult personal situation. I saw dignity, and now looking at you, pregnant, working on your feet for hours, clearly intelligent, I think maybe we can help each other. Emily frowned, confused. How? We have an opening for a junior editorial assistant. Flexible hours, full health insurance including maternity, and the possibility to work remotely 3 days a week after maternity leave. Emily felt as if the air had been sucked from her lungs. A job like this was exactly what she needed, but it seemed too good to be true. Why, you don't even know me? Vanessa smiled again. Call it intuition. Or maybe it's my way of settling accounts with the universe after almost getting involved with someone like Ryan. She slid a card across the table. Send your resume to this email by tomorrow. The interview would be on Monday. Emily took the card, still hesitant. "This has nothing to do with Ryan. He didn't ask you to do this." "Absolutely not," Vanessa replied firmly. "In fact, he doesn't know I'm here, and I'd prefer it stays that way." Later that day, as she left work, Emily found Ryan waiting, leaning against a luxury car near the employee entrance. "What are you doing here?" she asked, too exhausted to hide her irritation. "I wanted to give you a ride home," he replied, opening the passenger door. "Please." Reluctantly, Emily accepted. Her feet hurt, and the prospect of facing the crowded subway wasn't appealing. "I went to the doctor today," she commented when they were in the car, "for the monthly ultrasound." Ryan glanced quickly at her. "Is everything okay with the baby?" "Yes, she's perfect." Emily didn't know why she was sharing this with him, but the words simply came out. "She," Ryan repeated softly. "A girl." Emily nodded, looking out the window at the familiar streets of Boston. "I'm going to call her Lily." "It's a beautiful name," Ryan commented, maneuvering the car through the afternoon traffic. After a moment of silence, he added, "I wish I had been there. I mean, not for this baby, but..." He stopped, realizing he was entering dangerous territory. "For the babies we plan to have together," Emily completed, surprised by her own calmness in touching on that delicate subject. The silence that followed was heavy with lost possibilities and futures that never materialized. The February days gave way to March, and with spring arriving in Boston, many things had changed in Emily's life. The interview with Vanessa had been a success, and now she worked part-time at Apex Publishing, with the promise of full-time after Lily's birth. Ryan, surprisingly, had become a constant presence in her life, not in an intrusive way, but with small, meaningful gestures, taking her to medical appointments, helping assemble the baby room furniture, bringing food when she was too tired to cook. "I never thought you'd be good at putting furniture together," Emily commented one Saturday afternoon, watching Ryan struggle with the crib instructions. "Neither did I," he laughed, wiping sweat from his forehead. Dressed in simple jeans and a t-shirt, he looked more like the Ryan from Millfield than the executive she had encountered at the restaurant. Emily's phone rang. It was Samantha, wanting to know how the preparations for the baby shower she was organizing were going. Emily smiled as she spoke with her friend, realizing how her life was transforming. "Sam is excited about the shower," she commented when she hung up. She even convinced some colleagues from Le Ciel to help. "And Vanessa offered her building's party room." Ryan raised his eyebrows, surprised. "Vanessa, you two became friends." Emily hesitated, realizing she had never told Ryan about how she got the job at the publishing house. "She reached out to me after that night at the restaurant. She's the one who recommended me for the position at Apex." Ryan's face registered shock, then understanding. "So that's why she ended things with me so abruptly." "She ended things with you because of how you treated me that night," Emily corrected. "And honestly, that made me respect her a lot." Ryan nodded slowly. She was right to do it. He put the screwdriver on the floor and sat on the edge of a box. "You know, I've been thinking a lot about that version of me who left you in Millfield. I can't even recognize him anymore." Emily sat in the rocking chair that Ryan had assembled the week before. "What changed?" "Seeing you," he answered simply. "Seeing how you moved forward. How you're building a life, expecting a baby, all on your own. It made me realize how much time I wasted chasing things that don't really matter." A comfortable silence fell between them as the afternoon sun cast golden rays through the small room. For the first time in years, Emily felt that she could really see the man in front of her, not as the boy who had abandoned her, nor as the successful executive, but as someone complex, imperfect, evolving. Before they could continue the conversation, Emily felt a strong contraction. It wasn't the first that week. The doctor had explained that Braxton Hicks contractions were normal at this stage, but this one felt different. "Emily," Ryan noticed her tense expression. "Is everything okay?" She breathed deeply, waiting for the pain to pass. "I think so, it's just..." Another contraction interrupted her, stronger than the first. And then, the unmistakable fluid running down her legs. "Ryan, my water broke." The following hours passed in a blur of ambulance, hospital, doctors and nurses. Labor progressed with surprising rapidity for a first-time mother. Ryan remained by her side the entire time, holding her hand, encouraging her, being exactly the support she needed without having to ask. When Lily finally came into the world, with a powerful cry that echoed through the delivery room, Something fundamentally changed between Emily and Ryan. Watching him hold her daughter, technically not his, but at that moment it seemed he had always been destined to be there, Emily felt the barriers she had erected beginning to crumble. 3 months later, on a sunny Sunday morning, Emily sat on a blanket spread on the grass at Boston Common. Lily, now a chubby, smiling baby, babbled happily in Ryan's arms as he made faces to entertain her. "She has your smile," he commented, looking at Emily with an expression so open, so vulnerable, that she felt her heart race. "Ryan," Emily began, gathering courage, "we need to talk about us." He nodded, sitting up straighter, still holding Lily securely in his arms. "I'm listening. I'm not ready for grand promises or fairy tale endings," Emily continued, carefully choosing her words. "But I am ready to admit that you've changed, that maybe there is a path for us, even if it's different from what we imagined when we were young." Ryan adjusted Lily in his lap, his eyes never leaving Emily's. "I'm not asking for promises, just for a chance to prove, day by day, that I'm someone you can trust again." Emily reached out, gently touching his face. "That's exactly what we've been doing these past few months, isn't it?" He smiled, that genuine smile she knew so well from years ago. "Yes, I guess so." Lily let out a happy squeal, as if approving of the conversation. They both laughed, the tension of the moment dissipating in the fresh spring air. "So what happens now?" asked Ryan. Emily looked at the blue sky, at the other park visitors enjoying the day, at her daughter in the arms of the man who was slowly winning back her heart. "Now we continue, one day at a time. No rush, no grand declarations, just living." Ryan nodded, satisfied with the answer. It wasn't a perfect ending. Actually, it wasn't an ending at all, but a new beginning. And maybe, Emily thought as she watched Ryan playing with Lily, maybe that was even better than any happy ending she could have imagined. Dear viewers, thank you so much for following Emily and Ryan's journey. We hope this story about second chances, personal growth, and the transformative power of love has touched your heart. If you were moved by Emily's challenges, smiled at the small victories, and rooted for a fresh start between these two characters, don't forget to like this video. Your interaction is the fuel that motivates us to continue bringing stories of overcoming obstacles like this one to you daily. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next exciting narratives, and turn on the notification bell. And tell us in the comments, have you ever witnessed or experienced a story of new beginnings like Emily and Ryan's? Do you believe people can really change when they find true motivation? We're eager to read your experiences and opinions. See you tomorrow with another story that will warm your heart.